to talk about the Globalist 2000 depopulation agenda by the masterclass slave versus the masterclass Aryan race that wants people to be mentally ill, deranged lunatics by paying them low wages, low starvation wages. Let's carry out a holocaust called biotech engineering the food supply and terraforming with chemicals. And then let's carry out a holocaust called putting fluoride in the toothpaste and the fluoride in the water supply and mix it up like a bunch of chemicals in there and go back to Dr. Joseph Mengele for a poison pill they supply, not curing anybody in less than 24 hours, calling that successful in their brain dead delusional bullshit. And then that's like we're actually in a cruel crowd because, we're carrying out bioengineering. I'm not part of any nefarious projects going down. Act like I'm in the cool crowd. And then, falsify government documents and records and carry out a psychiatric holocaust, depopulation agenda that cures nobody in less than 24 hours. Either way, you're running a psychiatric holocaust, and I'm calling it as is. Calling it as is. Not sugarcoat. Right in front of your face. And cover torture programs, massive medical therapy. We gotta lock you up in the psychiatric ward because we don't want you to be smarter than us. We don't want you to use any deadly force against radical evil. The autopsy report doesn't look very good. The autopsy report in the depopulation experimentation program, massive medical and therapy, and a holocaust of 5.5 million. That's called you're not curing people, and you don't need to pay into that system. I'm not buying the slave system of I've got to wait till I'm 50 years old to be achieved in having financial success when jobs have been taken away, people have been fired for no just cause, and call that prosperity. I don't have time to wait here. I don't have time to wait for the zombified deadheads who thinks that the slave system and propping it up is actually beneficial. I'm not buying the chemicals solve every problem out there to generate a masterclass zombie class that's going to be genocided out with stronger laced chemical weapons than the psychiatric Reverend Jim Jones / brainwashing / running a psychiatric hoax / you're not coping in a slave system and we've got to put you on these psychiatric chemical weapons, massive medical therapy, because we don't want you to be prosperous. And biotech food supply with GM bacteria and call that like that's a pillar of the community and act like no evil exists on this planet and that, some guy out of the sky is coming back to save your fucking asses. And then act like I'm in the cool crowd. I got a big bank account, look at my home. I'm like conditioning my kids to, be degenerate, zombified down race too because teacher said in class that he's not paying attention or she's not paying attention to my bullshit brainwashing 101 at 13 years and 50,000 hours. And we don't think you're coping in my belief system, so I need to put you on psychiatric chemical weapons. So when you become about, 21, you won't be able to add 2 plus 2, 1 plus 1, and actually know what interest percentage rate is. I'm railing on this death system, this death slave system. satanic globalist masterclass zombie class, Aryan eugenics program. By stealth and deception, lies, false information, false advertising, brainwashing 101 off the TV, remote control. Let's listen to this and not pay attention to what's going on out here. Let's not pick up a book and read. Let's keep listening to Kim Kardashian, the Mind Control 101 programming, Caitlyn Jenner, and what's on TV tomorrow night. See, the Masterclass Zombie Class is carrying out a depopulation experimentation called Global 2000. And they're testing the zombie class. Hey, zombie class, are you awake to the depopulation experimentation going on? We're testing. Is the biological warfare working? Is the biotech engineered frankenfood, is that working? How smart are you, zombie class? Are you catching on to the psychiatric chemical holocaust? Master's Medical and Therapy and a covert torture program for the biotech, collecting grant fund money at your expenditures while your health goes downhill and the economic genocide depopulation project in slow motion goes downhill. Paying low-wage starvation wages, going on EBT. Aspartame in the Diet Coke, GM bacteria, GM meaning genetically modified bacteria from a virus, and the genetically modified engineered Starbucks canned coffee. Zombies, are you awake? Are you awake? Is the biological warfare working? Is our social engineering experiments working? Are you catching on to our Holocaust? We're killing you? That's not what I think, that's what they think. Catching on to our chemical engineering in our skies, and are you paying attention to, the Holocaust that's being rolled out in front of you in more ways than one? You ought to be asking why this is going down and putting a stop to it. And why this masterclass zombie class thinks they're carrying out a eugenics program and they don't got to answer to letters because they still think that they can still gaslight the public by not responding and then continue to brainwash you thinking that they can still carry out the genocide. That's what's going on. Who believes in slavery? The satanic membership cult, okay? They want you enslaved. They believe in their slavery system, and they want you enslaved. See, there's your religious death cult that believes in slavery, torture, chemical violence, biotech engineering to make room for their satanic class structure, okay? That's what's going on. They're hoping that you're that dumb, that stupid, that degenerated, and convince you that going to work in the slave system is beneficial to you. It's not. It doesn't benefit anybody. And they've got you convinced that money is the cure-all for every ailment out there. I got news for you. That's not the cure. That's not the cure that's going to remedy the situation. The cure is to get rid of evil and make sure that evil doesn't thrive. That's it. And anybody that supports slavery in any form or fashion and act like you're a hero in the pillar of the community and you've got to conform to our religious death cult structure of slavery and debt slavery, medical slavery, and chemical violence in mass, carried out stealth, false information lies, bullshit brainwashing programs, and false belief systems, and fake science papers, fake expert opinion, and fake documents. Condition people in school that they've got to take these psychiatric chemical weapons because you're not fitting into our slave system. You're not fitting in. We've got to put you on chemical weapons. That's it. You don't fit in the slave system. You'll be running from town to town to town just just like I have been. Because I don't want anybody out here that doesn't conform to their Aryan race masterclass zombie class. With no more backbone, no compass, no spine. You see how this is rolling out? Let's get the masterclass zombie class into one conformed collective identity, and if they don't conform to our slave system and don't bow down to the fucking chemical violence warfare being conducted and have a conscience upstairs, we don't want them. I don't want your fucking goddamn slave system. In fact, you're fucking disgusting. Immoral human piece of trash, garbage, trash bags that deserve no respect, ignoring, and outcasting. See, but if you're curing people of cancer like Brzezinski and Dr. Gonzalez and Koch, we don't want nothing to do with you. We're going to label you up with a bunch of mental disorders and fictitious mental diseases that don't fucking exist because you're not conforming to our slave system. And here's what they're trying to do. They're trying to design a whole class of zombies that are going to be implicated and force vaccinated into their cyborg slave zombie class. That's it. That's what's going on. And by God, if you don't take our chemical weapons and you don't conform to our slave system and you don't obey us, we're going to send you in a psychiatric ward. By gunpoint. Get the picture? That's the same thing going on in the military. You don't fit in the slaughterhouse, and we're going to send you back out into the slaughterhouse, and if you don't conform to rape and genocide, then we're going to send you to your own slaughterhouse called chemical psychiatric weapons. You're trying to perfect the goddamn satanic race. Here is what they're trying to do. And the second project is the fucking goddamn, let's carry out a Holocaust so we can, like, terraform the goddamn planet and make room for new occupants. You don't conform to our evil system, we're going to label you up with a bunch of fictitious mental disorders and illnesses that don't exist because you're not conforming. Good, I'm not conforming to your fucking goddamn Holocaust membership club. I'm not conforming to your slave system. I'm not conforming to your biotech engineering of the food supply and calling it an experiment in fucking progress. I'm not listening to your brainwashing 101 mind control system that you've got to be just like us and you've got to be just as mentally degenerated and lunatic like we want you to be. Why listen to a track record of 500,000 in the psychiatric Holocaust industry, and why listen to a track record of 5.500 million people in 10 years of that track record, and why listen to people that carry out covert chemical violence on a daily fucking basis acting like they're fucking heroes in the community? Why should anyone listen to this fucking garbage coming out of these fucking non-humans? The Luciferian Messianic satanic cult membership that wants everybody enslaved. We're already enslaved, and that's what they believe, and their belief system is being pushed onto you. Fuck you. They ought to be evicted in less than 24 hours and get out of here. Get the picture? I'm going to lay it out in lavender in regards to the Global 2000 depopulation experimentation being carried out by stealth, deception, brainwashing, mind control, false advertising, false information, false belief systems, not based in truth, reason, evidence, logic, critical thinking skills, moral compass, and a spine. The globalist 2000 agenda to have this planet exterminated by 2050. The depopulation experimentation is called the psychiatric holocaust, killing 500,000 in a bullshit brainwashing belief system and prescribing poison-laced pills in small amounts as over time to make the Reverend Jim Jones look like a saint in comparison. The second depopulation experiment being carried out by stealth, false information, false belief systems is the medical holocaust. Death toll, 5 million people per decade by prescribing poison-laced pills, unnecessary medical procedures, overprescribing, collecting grant funding for unlawful human science experimentations, curing no one in 24 hours in a humane, ethical way. The third depopulation experiment being carried out is called the chemical holocaust. With fluoride in the toothpaste, pesticides, herbicides, chemical contaminants up to 200 to 15,000 plus synthetic chemicals down to the nanoparticulate level. The fifth holocaust being carried out, masked as geoengineering, chemtrailing the skies in an effect to global dim with the payload system carried out, increasing in nature in the next 15 years with aluminum, barium, strontium down to the nanoparticulate level, thereby getting into the root supply and thereby causing wildfires, thereby causing more destruction. And keep going to Dr. Joseph Mengele, who should be telling you this, that yes, chemtrails are destroying the planet. Yes, the poison-laced pills is not a solution to a problem, not getting to the root causational factors. The sixth depopulation experiment going on is called low-wage slavery starvation wages. At 60% paycheck to paycheck living, almost near homelessness, social conditioning, brainwashing people to accept low wages as to brainwash them into thinking that they're getting a really great bonanza. The seventh holocaust being carried out by depopulation is called the 3G, 4G, 5G networking system and the Mind Control 101 programming, carried out by microwave ELF EMF waves, psychotronic electronic warfare. The ninth depopulation experimentation going on is called geoengineering and terraforming bioteching the food supply, with genetically modified engineered foods, hoping you'll never catch on to that, and never ask what's in your food supply. Because, you know, the medical industrial holocaust industry needs to have a fresh supply of bodies in their parking lots, because, you know, they're doing such a good job at not curing anybody in less than 24 hours in a humane, ethical way. And by the way, the ninth one is called the information knowledge differential suppression on purpose by design, by false information, lying by admission, false advertising, fake government documents, lying in court, false information, false statements, social engineering experimentations, brainwashing, mind control TV program 101, brainwashing you to take your poison-laced pills, look at all the side effects, don't pay attention to that, keep poisoning yourself. The 10th economic depopulation experiment taking place is called being ran out of business. High taxation rates, going into debt, and acting like going into debt is the moral, sane, logical conclusion, because, you know, everybody else is doing it, and you need to do what everybody else is doing because they have not a clue what they're doing, so they think they're in the cool crowd, and you're supposed to go into debt like them because they don't understand the concept that money is a form of control. And that is just one way to make sure you go out of business, so we can issue a judgment over here and a writ of execution, sell your stuff off at auction. The 11th depopulation experimentation taking place is called poor parenting skills. Poor parenting skills, abusive parents, abusive siblings, who wants to run an abusive hostage situation so you can't escape that abusive situation, and then the dumbass people sit there and think you're supposed to go back to abusive parents and abusive parenting, and you're supposed to go through that again and again and again and be mentally brainwashed, degenerated, and think like them. Because abusive parents don't sabotage their kids, and abusive parents can't pull their heads out of their asses and stop spanking their kids and hitting them and yelling them because, they're just setting themselves up for failure in the long haul because abusive parents don't need to be taken care of, okay? You're committing abusive, hostile situation in a hostage situation renders not taken care of in your later years. That's the breakaway civilization from the Mind Control Brainwashing 101 project programming and parents that sabotage their own kids because they're miserable and they can't figure it out. The 11th depopulation experimentation program is called Social Engineering and Brainwashing Psychiatrists in the School System who want you to conform to their ideology, and if you don't conform to their ideology and your kid cannot deal with cyberbullying or bullying at school, we have to label them with a psychiatric mental fictitious disorder and illness so we can pad our pockets and make your kid into a degenerate. And then socially engineer and brainwash your children to don't ask questions, conform to our ideology, and conform to our slave system. By force. The 12th depopulation experimentation going on is called nursing home abuse and issuing prescribing poison-laced pills in small amounts as to kill off your loved one, so-called loved one, into another prison industrial complex called the nursing home so they can be in lockdown and in prison themselves. And if they don't conform and they don't like the situation, we have to prescribe poison-laced pills once again because we have a crop load of people over here that are needing to go into our rest home, and we need to get those people dead and debilitated. The quicker the better. The 14th depopulation experimentation going on is called the military-industrial complex, where the mental deranged lunatics at the top want everybody to conform to their Holocaust industry called death and destruction, and they're trying to perfect a race of deadhead mental degenerates so they can go on VA disability, which will take about up to 6 months to 2 years in that waiting depopulation experiment because somebody over here doesn't want to fill out the correct paperwork, and once again, you're being held hostage to somebody else's bullshit and waiting on them. Into that slaughterhouse of slaughterhouses. Brainwashing 101. The 12th depopulation experimentation is called the TV Oracle of Lies and Bullshit Belief Systems, Fake News Reports, and Fake Commentary. Ran by the CIA, Operation Mockingbird, by CIA operatives who got it down to the digital level in a pixel digital format. By graphic designers sitting behind graphic studios, behind keyboards, and false flag attack, false flag attack, false flag attack, false flag shooting hoax over here, shooting hoax, shooting hoax, shooting hoax, shooting hoax, and preparation for legislation for gun disarmament, because that's what the masterclass zombie race wants. Conforming again. AFR 15, gun disarmament. This magazine over here, don't have that weapon over here, don't come across this border unless you have this many rounds in this firearm and this many magazines, and don't have this firearm loaded. Yep, you can have this firearm loaded over here, this many rounds over in that area. Get the picture? So you tell me how this slavery system was working out for everybody. And you tell me how this extermination program in slow motion, by stealth, lies, deception, false information, lying by omission, how you think that you're going to have a prosperous future in the next 15 to 20 years. With all these people that are being poisoned to death and the increase in the psychiatric chemical weapons, as stated by Dr. Peter Gaucher in a congressional hearing saying that these poison-laced pills are becoming worse. What makes you think that you're in freedom? What makes you think you a prosperous future. Because the way I see it, people that answer to a paycheck in that belief system are going to be the ones that are going to violate everybody else's civil rights and sovereign rights out here, because they want to fit into the master class, slave class, zombified deadheads, and in fact, they're going to be exterminated too. And then what makes people think that eating dead energy and poison-laced food and a layering system of chemical contaminants, and then cooking their food and taking all these medications and eating biotech franking food, why should we listen to you? You're not interested in life. You're interested in death. So why do we want to listen to those people who don't give a fuck about themselves and think they know it all because they're eating a bunch of poison-laced food, genetically modified, engineered bacteria, and drinking and eating their poisons on a daily basis, and you call yourself mentally intelligent? I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. Continuing, that's the Global Plan Agenda 2000 by the Masterclass Zombie Class, who wants to continue the eugenics depopulation experiment carried out by stealth in order to perfect their slave class system and their mad scientists and their chemical engineers. So they can send you to the slaughterhouse called either the medical holocaust industry, the prison industrial complex industry, or the military industrial holocaust industry, or the chemical holocaust industry, or the biotech holocaust industry. So you can be extortionized once again by the Dr. Joseph Mengeles in white coats, because you know they're wonderful people, the track record of over 5.500 million people behind that dead toll, and you're not supposed to know about that, because anybody that doesn't fix something in less than 24 hours doesn't deserve a paycheck, especially if they're prescribing poison-laced pills with a parking lot of human guinea pigs to be sliced, diced, and operated on, and extortionized, and possibly exterminated. Out. See, the master class, zombie class, is testing the zombified deadheads. Hey, is that chemical warfare working? Hey, did they figure out that they're being holocausted by stealth? Deception, lies, false advertising? Hey, did they figure out that pesticides are killing them off? Herbicides? How smart is the zombie class? Is the zombie class, did they figure out that they're being hosed and fucked over 10 ways a Sunday? Mentally degenerated on purpose by design, socially engineered to be a brain-dead zombie head so they can be microchipped and planted into the electronic concentration camp being erected all around. Are they that dumb? Have we made them that dumb? Have they figured out that we don't want anybody that's curing cancer out here? Because if they do, we're going to send them down to a grand jury indictment of epidemic proportions and run them out of town. And if they don't conform to our slave system of the zombified master class, who wants everybody controlled, regimented, subjugated, exterminated, so we can perfect the slave class system here, they figure it out? They figured out that they're being regimented by the master class, zombie class. See, that's why the CIA exists. The CIA exists to see if they can carry out social engineering experiments called degeneration, horror movies upon horror movies upon horror movies, and run a CIA operation called Depopulation Programming Experimentation 101. And the first clue in that situation, if you actually read anything online and actually obtain any eclectic range of information that makes sense. It's called the Reverend Jim Jones Massacre, funded directly from the CIA. That's not made up for a popularity contest or for entertainment purposes. The CIA, in some elements, are the ones that are sitting here analyzing everybody, while the master class, zombie class, is trying to figure out who's the enemy out there. Who's the enemy? Who's going to, like, totally demolish our slave system depopulation experimentation program? Who's going to figure it out? Because we need to get rid of them. And if we don't, like you, because you don't fit into our slave class system in this feudalistic communist dictatorship of master classes and the cyborg slave zombie class, then we're going to have to get rid of you. And we don't like people standing up for the rights, and in fact, we're going to have to, like, evict you out of the place because you have a rational saying head upstairs, and you know how to handle situations properly. We don't want people that stand up for themselves. We got to socially engineer them to make sure that they're disarmed, defamed, libeled, slandered, and we don't want any cures out here. I'll say again, like a broken record, there's every cure for cancer, disease, homelessness, poverty, violence, low-wage starvation wages, radiation, chemical contaminants. See, you're not supposed to have any access to that because they want to still make sure the races are subjugated, regimentated, detained, restrained, jailed. And if you don't fit into our evil system, we're going to have to get rid of you. And if you take care of people right and you do good and you're trying to move ahead in life, we've got to cut you down and make you start all over again. And if you don't fit in our slavery system of evilness, then we've got to find a way to get rid of you. And that means we'll send out an MI6 intelligence officers out to your place and fucking hammer to you and kill you. You know, like John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, issue 7 grand jury indictment against Brzezinski, curing cancer, and make Nicole Tesla homeless, please. No, don't read anything about how to patent your own engine, and don't read anything about that. No, don't. No, keep paying to Michael Kors, Kim Kardashian, and Michael Jordan. And keep paying your pastors to tell you a bunch of fucking bullshit and that brainwashing belief systems of religions that benefits nobody except the people running the show. That's the game plan. And people are going to get a reality check more ways than one when it really starts getting in your face. That means, like, kidnappings into the covert torture program called the CIA soft kill, slow kill, genocide, psychiatric bullshit brainwashing for a covert torture project with fictitious mental illnesses and mental diseases that don't even exist. Don't be surprised in the next couple of years if that's the common kitchen table talk of who got kidnapped over here and who got sent over here and no due process, no trial, no hearing, because they're running that one. In the psychiatric holocaust bullshit brainwashing hoax covert torture program. Masters medical and therapy in a nice hospital setting by CIA psychiatrists that are not even licensed. And the creators of the DSM manuals 1 through 5, bullshit believing, brainwashing 101, mind control programming, MK Ultra, MK Delta. Straight out of the CIA. There's your black ops sites, your hospitals. You're going to get the consequences in more ways than one, and you're going to get implicated in covert chemical torture, and unlawful human science experimentations, and it will suck to be you. Suck to be you.